So how on earth is this credibly an attempt to help the unbanked when cryptocurrencies are illegal in most of those countries?
Libra, cracking the code of Facebook's ambition. Libra has generated massive media attention and controversy, whilst attracting the ire of regulators on a global level. But what's Facebook's real goal? Let's find out. Tom Trowbridge, Hedera Hashgraph.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for being here this morning. I appreciate it. It's early. This is probably at least the second, if not third, Libra-focused presentation you'll have heard, but it will be different. There's some things I think that haven't been said. So first, let's talk a little bit about why I'm here. I helped found Hedera Hashgraph. Hedera Hashgraph is a next-generation distributed ledger, like an Ethereum, but much faster, fairer, and safer. It's governed by a council. And this council has IBM, Nomura, Deutsche Telekom, Swisscom, DLA Piper. We met with Facebook to try to get them to join our council back in early 2018. You can tell they didn't, and they copied a lot of elements of the council that Hedera has. And so Hedera took out this Wall Street Journal ad thanking Facebook for validating the council model. So let's talk a little bit, and so sort of have some experience and dove into exactly what they're doing. So let's talk a little bit about Calibra and Libra. Libra is the currency, and I want to make sure everyone's clear on this and the association. Calibra is Facebook's wallet and the sub. Very different, and I'm going to use them quickly going forward, so I just want to make sure we have that. What is the Libra association? It's 28 companies governed by a Swiss foundation. Whoops, scratch that. It's 21 companies now. Political pressure, as everyone's aware, has forced many to leave this association. They want to provide a currency to help the unbanked and underbanked, allegedly. But why are people joining this? You could create, any group of companies could create the same thing. It's Facebook's distribution through the wallet that's critical here. Let's talk about Facebook's involvement. So when you look at this, it's just one of 100 members. Mark Zuckerberg says this continually, just one of 100 members. But this Calibra wallet is critical to everything. Facebook doesn't even have to be a member of Libra because Libra is only distributed through this wallet. The wallet will be native in Messenger and WhatsApp. Remember, no other wallet will be allowed in those chat apps, and no other currency or digital asset will be allowed in those wallets either. So that's very important to realize. So Libra is 100% dependent on Calibra, on Facebook. And you got to understand those distinctions pretty carefully. So what are the benefits of this? There's a lot of discussion of lower transaction fees, access to products more easily, all the different things you can do, remittances, you can lower cost, faster transfers of money. But guess what? This is all already possible. You can already do this with existing cryptocurrencies. The only thing different here is scale. So let's talk about the scale. So this is the number, roughly, of blockchain wallets in the world today. And these are hard to nail down exactly, but it's pretty close. So now let's look at active wallets, which is about 12 million. So a smaller, obviously, number because a lot of wallets are inactive. Now, how many users are there? A lot of people who use blockchain have multiple wallets. How many people here have more than one wallet? Right, a bunch of people, right? And some will have as many as 5, some 2, right? So the actual unique wallets is probably around 4 million. Now let's look at the number of Messenger and Facebook users, right? It's a big number, right? And then if you add in WhatsApp, it gets even bigger. I think it's going to take a little while to load here. There's, boom. So it is a very, very big cataclysmic impact for the industry to have this amount of volume. And I think that's what people are kind of instinctively reacting to. And there's both a benefit to this because it shows the potential for huge adoption, but there are massive risks associated with it. So how will Facebook get people to use this? Everyone says Facebook isn't trusted. Why will anyone, and also we know consumers are not quick to adopt new technologies. Well, I think it's very likely that Facebook pays people to do it. And they will just, one day you'll wake up, you'll have a wallet, and every time you do a post, every time you do a share, you will get Libras in that wallet. And think about it, regulators are always saying, we want people to be paid for their data. So Facebook will say, sure, we'll pay you for your data, here's some Libras, here's some Libras. And this wallet balance will keep growing until you say, you know what, screw it, I'll do the KYC, the know your customer, I'll go through the proper channels so that I actually have the knowledge that I'm the actual option I can have. And so I think, basically hours after launch, Facebook will be the dominant provider, the dominant wallet in the world. And why do they want to do that? Because paying people will be expensive. It's because they want your bankable identity. And that, when you join Facebook right now, all you have, it gives your email address and a couple other pieces of information. That's not bankable. And why do they want your bankable identity? Because they want to sell you financial products. That's the key element. David Marcus already said this in front of Congress, that they will sell financial products via partners. And with the KYC information, that's the missing piece. This is the model they're going after, which is Alipay and Ant Financial. They have 1 billion users in Alipay. Ant Financial is worth $150 billion. They sell all these products to their customers, banks, credit cards, loans, insurance, including the world's largest money market fund. If Facebook is valued on the same metrics as Calibra Wallet is, it would add $500 billion to Facebook's value. It would double Facebook's value. And that doesn't even take into account that Facebook users are wealthier than Alipay users. So that's clearly what they're after. This is a quick map to show how it works, although it may take a moment to load. It's showing exactly how the deposit fiat and receive Libra coins, but it may not load, in which case we'll keep going. There we go. So users contribute dollars, they get to the Calibra wallet, they get Calibras back, and it goes to the Libra Reserve. Now, what's really important is this Libra Reserve, and that's where I think people haven't really focused so far. All the money that goes in effectively goes to this reserve. This reserve buys assets from central banks. So the cash is there, and this could be an enormous pool of assets. If every Facebook user put in $450, that Libra Reserve would be $1.5 trillion. It'd be the size of JP Morgan's balance sheet. And guess what? There are no regulations to govern how that is spent, and their current plan is to just invest in any countries, the currencies that they want to have in their basket of currencies. So they could be the largest fund in the world by a material amount. Let's talk about the goals. They claim to want to help the unbanked, but let's talk about the unbanked. About half of them live in Bangladesh, China, India, Indonesia, Mexico. Guess where cryptocurrencies are illegal? Almost all those countries. So how on earth is this credibly an attempt to help the unbanked when cryptocurrencies are illegal in most of those countries? By the way, if you want to help the unbanked, allow any wallet access to Messenger and WhatsApp. And once you have any wallet, allow any currency there. How are you going to drive adoption to the unbanked with such a limited scope of technology? And if you want to help the unbanked, you're talking about people that live on $1 a day and are very uneducated. Are you going to explain to them what a Libra is? How on earth are they going to understand what this new system is? You would do a digitized US dollar, euro, or local currency, rupee, you name it. So I think it will only, the new currency only adds friction and slows adoption. So why would you do that? You do that because you want this Libra Reserve. And they want this Libra Reserve because if they just use another coin, they'd be buying that coin and there'd be no reserve, no dollars that this Libra Reserve could allocate. This $1.5 trillion, and this gets a little complicated, but they could put, right now they've said we're going to buy dollars and British pounds and yen, but they could do whatever they want. And with $1.5 trillion, they could go to India. By the way, Facebook's largest user base is India, and say, okay, India, we'll buy all of your external debt for 3 years. How about you allow Libra then? Maybe you don't allow other competing currencies. And you could very quickly end up with a company that literally drove policy around the world as the largest buyer of government debt globally. That is incredibly powerful, and I don't think that has been fully recognized. Even US dollar, if 2/3 was in the dollar, and you had a $1 trillion buyer of US debt, I think people would be very conscious of what that entity was interested in. So Facebook's ultimate ambition, it wants to be at least a $1 trillion company. Calibra needs Libra, Libra needs Calibra. Calibra potentially could be the largest financial provider in the world. That is, with power larger and over almost any government. Where do I think this goes? I actually think Libra could launch without Facebook. You know, Mark Zuckerberg in his last hearing said Libra could launch, they may not be a part of it. He actually, now it's in motion, it could actually be easier for him to launch without Facebook. But it doesn't matter because they would still be dependent on the Calibra wallet for distribution. So even not being a part of Libra, Facebook would still have a huge influence in that company. And that also makes it easier for Facebook to launch the Calibra wallet. And that's what it's really after. And so I think that if it left Libra, it would be much easier to launch this wallet. It'd go a little bit under the radar, it'd be seen as giving in to regulators, and they could deploy Libra in it when they so chose. And when they do that, Facebook ends up with the same outcome, which is Mark Zuckerberg's the king of the world. So thank you very much. Appreciate the time.